Good morning and welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Good to be back with you, Sandra, as always.
Yeah, so considering the campaign is asking the attendees to sign this risk disclosure, considering the current spread of COVID-19, considering it's still a risk, why hold the event now? And if it has to be now, why not outside somewhere?
Well, part of the event will be outside. We're going to have a big area for people who don't get into the arena. The arena can only hold around 19,000 people. And as you know, well over 1 million people RSVP'd for this event. So we're expecting to have more of, I think, like you heard Brad say, like a festival feel. We're going to have an outside component, an inside component. But look, it's time now because people, I think, are ready to get back to some normalcy in life. And more so than just a campaign rally, this kind of feels like the kickoff to sort of reopening the country. We chose Oklahoma because they were the first state in the country to lift their COVID restrictions. And we are going above and beyond to make sure that we are doing temperature checks when people come in. People are being given masks, hand sanitizer. So we're doing everything we can to help on that front. But it's going to be a great celebration, and we felt like it was time to start.
And of course, Lara, you know that that's 19,000 people in close proximity at a time when so many of us are trying to still social distance. I know that the arena, the BOK Center, has asked your campaign for a written plan to mitigate the spread inside of the arena there. Is there any plans to make masks mandatory for attendees?
Well, we're being strongly suggestive that people wear them, but we also believe in people's personal freedoms, and they are allowed to choose, first of all, whether or not to even attend this event. And then when they get inside, if they feel like maybe they're in a safer demographic, they don't want to wear a mask, you know what, we're not going to go around and enforce with every single person, but obviously we're making them available, and we're doing everything we can to try and help mitigate the spread if that even becomes a problem. But you contrast, Sandra, the uproar over this rally, this one Trump rally, with what everyone saw happen in these protests all across this country, in the cities around the country that had the highest COVID rates. Tulsa, Oklahoma was not one of those cities. And so whenever you think about the fact that nobody had a problem with any of these rallies, the media by and large was championing these rallies and saying, well, the protests, get out there and protest. I mean, now all of a sudden it's a Trump rally and everybody has a problem with it. The hypocrisy is very, very obvious to people here, I think.
It's a double standard that has been pointed out by many on your campaign and many within the Republican Party. I want to put this tweet up on the screen. This is the president a short time ago. On any protesters, anarchists, agitators, looters, lowlifes who are going to Oklahoma, please understand you will not be treated like you have been in New York, Seattle, or Minneapolis. It will be a much different scene. He's reacting to now the civil emergency that the mayor of Tulsa, a Republican, has now declared because of some warnings that he has received, saying, I have received information from the Tulsa Police Department and other law enforcement agencies that show that individuals from organized groups who have been involved in destructive and violent behavior in the other states are planning to travel to the city of Tulsa for purposes of causing unrest in and around the rally. That is Mayor G.T. Bynum of Tulsa. What is your message? What is the campaign message to any of those agitators who may be planning to descend on Tulsa ahead of this rally?
Well, I just think it's such a shame that anyone would hijack anything. You saw how these agitators hijacked the peaceful protests and they turned them into riots and into burning down buildings and destroying small businesses. And it devolved into violence very quickly. Trump supporters are by and large very peaceful people. They're very happy to welcome everybody to a Trump rally. They want everyone to experience this president as they see him and as they know him. So we have never had issues at a Trump rally. In fact, I would think that if these people showed up, they would be shocked by how welcomed they would be if they wanted to come in peacefully and see the president's rally. Look, it's a shame anybody would ever consider doing this just to cause chaos and destruction and violence. But you know, stay home. We don't need you there. This is a joyful celebration, and we want it to remain that way.
Okay. All right. A few big things I want to ask you about. Lara, you and I have long had a conversation about President Trump and women, and you look at what's happening in the latest Fox News polling. It does show that the choice for president, if voting today among women, goes to Joe Biden, polling 52% in our latest poll, to President Trump, 33%. Lara, what is the president doing to try to win over the female vote and in some cases win it back?
Well, look, I have always told you, Sandra, as well, that I don't think those polls accurately reflect how people really feel across this country. We know they weren't right in 2016. I think they're even more incorrect now. That said, whenever I think moms, especially out there, see the violence in all of these Democrat-run cities that has been allowed to happen, the way that the defund the police movement has taken a hold of so many of our great cities in this nation, it's very frightening. I mean, I have 2 kids, and I would be terrified to live in a city or in a country that would have a defunded police force where you didn't have law and order. This president has always stood up for law and order, and it's something that he stands strong with now. I think women are paying attention to that, and you only have to look at the track record of this president, and that's our goal with our Women for Trump coalition, to get the message out there about what this president has been able to do. A historic low in women's unemployment over the past almost 70 years. It was a 70-year low as we were leading into coronavirus. Over half of the jobs created in this country were 7 million new jobs. 3.6 million of those went to women. So this president has been very good for women, and that's our job at the Trump campaign, to get out there, remind women of that, but also tell them how frightening it could be if Joe Biden and his radical socialist Democrat Party got control of the United States. What you see happening in Minneapolis, Seattle, and Portland could be coming to a town near you if Joe Biden got control.
On that point, is the campaign actively seeking another general election presidential debate with Joe Biden?
Well, I think that we would like people to be able to have as much exposure to both the president and his policies as well as Joe Biden and his policies. Joe Biden has spent 78 days not talking to the press. It's been 78 days since he did a press conference for the people across this country to see what he stands for, who he is. He's been hiding in his basement. It's time to get Joe out and to compare and contrast Donald Trump's vision for the future of this country, his plan to actually bring the economy back, to bring jobs back to this country. He did it once, Sandra. He can and will do it again. Versus Joe Biden, and push him on things like, where really does he stand with defund the police? He hasn't been extremely clear with that. Talking about having AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as his climate change advisor. Think about implementing the Green New Deal. We need to hear from this man. And if we have 4 debates, I think the American people would be that much more informed.
So there's 3 scheduled now, but does the president himself want that 4th debate, Lara? Final thoughts.
Yeah, he would be absolutely happy to have a 4th debate. They need to be moved earlier because we have a lot of early voting in this country, but he would be happy to have a 4th debate.
Okay, got it. I asked, he just gave an interview, Gray Television, Washington bureau chief. He didn't specifically answer that question, so I was wondering if it was the campaign and the president were on the same page as far as wanting that 4th debate. Good to get your thoughts on all of that this morning. Lara, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Come back soon.
Thank you.